Well, Sean Lennon here with PWE Report, and right now we're welcoming professional wrestler Iron Mike Curkov to the PWE Report. And make sure to check out his upcoming match. He's a news anchor for the CBS 58 in Wisconsin, a former GLCW Tag Team Champion. But next Saturday, he faces the Mayan Mauler, Drew Hernandez at Blizzard Brawl. Make sure to be there live, as it is for the GLCW Heavyweight Championship as well. And Waukesha, Wisconsin. So we appreciate you, Mike, being on the show. Glad to have you
Hey,
on.
happy to be here. Excited.
Definitely. Talk about yourself as a professional wrestler. And, once you've gone into the business, how similar was it to being a news anchor?
The biggest similarity is the storytelling, and that's as I learned and gone through training, but mostly just hung around and listened and learned why we're doing this or why we're doing that. Um, Trying to develop the character, trying to get the story that you're telling, and it's helped me as a news reporter and news anchor too. Think about the way I'm telling the story, come up with different ways to tell the story in my main profession and as a wrestler as well.
Definitely. When you're training to be a professional wrestler, like how hard was that to fit into your work schedule?
Well, I'm a morning news anchor, so all I had to do was just stay up a little bit longer. So my alarm goes off at 1:30 every morning. I get to work about 2:40, 2:45, and I work until 11-ish, say. And so when I first started, that was a schedule that I was on. And it started by I did a couple of stories on local wrestlers, just like you're doing right now. One on Ben Monty, who was in Afghanistan in the military, was shot and came back as a wrestler. I thought that was a great story. Local stories in the Kenosha area, so in our viewing area, and I heard him on the Colt Cabana podcast. And then I did a story. Through that story, I met Cal Herro and Dave Herro, and I did a story on Cal because I thought he had an interesting story, just as he was starting, and you could tell he had something special. And then I started doing some more interviews on the big names that were coming. Like Dave would say, "Hey, Mick Foley's coming. You want to interview him beforehand to kind of promote his show and be a good little get for my newscast." And so I did that, and him, and like Eric Bischoff, and et cetera, et cetera. And then Dave said, "Do you want to try it? Do you want to wrestle?" And well, absolutely. I always wanted to wrestle, but I didn't want to do it like fun. I didn't want to be in there goofing around and shoving
Sure.
I wanted to really, really train. And so for 6 months, I trained in the gym. I got a personal trainer, and once a month, and at the beginning, and then a little bit more toward the end, I would train in the ring with Angel Armani and Cal and a couple other local people. And it was a lot different, And so I think everyone was surprised, including myself, surprised that I had the athleticism to do some things. I had to learn to do some other things. And then that first match was it was amazing. It was amazing.
For sure. And you've been doing it for quite some time now. And, talk about being able to perform in front of a live crowd.
Yeah. Like I said, that first match, that was Blizzard Brawl 2021. It was me and Austin and Colton Gunn, the Gun Club, against Kevin Thorne and the Express here, based here in Southeast Wisconsin. And it was incredible. I just like everyone always says, you walk through that curtain, there's nothing like it. You're in there, the crowd's cheering for you. They're up and down with you. You're feeding off them. There's just nothing like it. And it went so well. I think everyone was surprised at how well it went. And that ended up doing it again and again and again and again. And this is my fourth Blizzard Brawl now.
Oh, wow. That's going to be awesome. And let's talk about this upcoming show. What do you think of your opponent, Drew Hernandez, the Mayan Mauler? This is going to be a championship match, GLCW Heavyweight Championship. And how much are you looking forward to this match, being in front of, the hometown crowd?
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. It's a great opportunity to get that belt. I thought I had it a couple weeks ago at Burlington Brawl. Turns out the Mayan Mauler was hiding under the ring for 20 minutes and then popped out and blowed me while I was celebrating my win that I thought I had, and then tossed me. So I need to get a little revenge. I've only had one other singles match, and that was against Kevin Thorne at my second Blizzard Brawl, and that was a lot of fun. But I haven't had mostly tag matches, or 6-man tag, some 8-man tag, and 4 Rumbles or Battle Royals, and this will be my first title match, and so it's a big opportunity, and I hoping to make everyone here proud, my hometown crowd.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure you have a lot of interest from the news world as well, from TV. And do you have a lot of the supporters coming through?
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of coworkers there. It's been a lot of fun just going to every show, every match, and meeting people who came because they always watch the morning newscast and they wanted to come check it out, or meeting people who love wrestling and now because they saw me get a chance to do it and perform, they're like, well, I'm going to watch the morning show now, and then they've been watching our morning newscast ever since. So it's really cool to see the way those two crowds mash up and support in both directions. And I've heard a lot of chants and people wearing my T-shirt. It's so cool. It's something I never expected.
Yes, for sure. We've seen Iron Mike Curkov. You have a special shirt, so we'll make sure to plug those at the end of the podcast. But
Yes.
when people come to Blizzard Brawl, talk about how stacked of a card it is. It's a can't miss event, and what should they be prepared for?
I mean, it really is every year, and I think it was 2 years ago. It had kind of an Attitude Era feel to it. This year, it's kind of an ECW feel to it. Plus Braun Strowman, getting making a special appearance. But you've got Sabu is going to be there. You've got who else? Well, the Dudley Boys and Spike Dudley are going to be back here for the Milwaukee Admirals hockey game a few days later. But Dave has really set up a pretty amazing card. So you Sabu, Rhino, Jacqueline's going to be there. Wendy Richter is going to be there. Wrestling will be Damian Sandow and Santino Morelli. And who else we got? We got Frank Kazarian. I don't know, but the list is just so big. I got to pull it up. That's the thing about Blizzard Ball. There are so many people. Somebody from whatever era you love, they'll be there to celebrate. And you can get their autograph. You can meet them and see some great wrestling too.
Definitely. I mean, Zilla Fatu, that's
yes.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. Him and Joey Avalon.
Yeah. I've gone up against Joey Avalon a few times. That guy's a great wrestler. But when he meets Zilla Fatu, we'll see what happens.
And so what's the loudest reaction you've had to either your entrance or a move, something that happened during a match?
The first time I pulled out a moonsault in a match, that got the crowd going. That was at Brady Street Festival a couple of summers ago. I tried that for the first time, and the crowd went bananas. And then I tossed Drew Hernandez right there in that battle royal, and that won me that match. And then when I went through my first table, that crowd lost their minds. That was in Thiensville over this past summer, and we ended up winning that match. Super Z and I and Earl Hebner counted 1, 2, 3 after the ref got knocked out. That was amazing.
Definitely. And then talk about the great opportunities you've had working with GLCW. And do you do any other promotions, or are you primarily with them?
Primarily with GLCW, but I also work with SSW. I'll be in the Horsepower 3, the Battle for Mahone, at Mahone Middle School coming up in March. And then I do a show with One Fall Entertainment, their Pink Heels show in Sheboygan. The last 3 years I've been able to do that. This past year I ring announced, but I took out Coda Jacobs because that guy's always in my hair. But mostly GLCW, and it's been a phenomenal experience, a great partnership with Dave Herro, and an opportunity for me to do something I've always dreamed of. And I hope, because I take it pretty seriously, the other wrestlers are respectful of what I'm trying to do, because I'm respectful of what they're doing too.
Oh yeah, yes, for sure. And when your career is finished, like, what do you want to be remembered for?
Well, for a while, I wanted to be remembered as the only Emmy-winning news anchor professional wrestler. But since I've started, 2 other local news anchors have done it. There's a guy, real great guy in Detroit that started. He's wrestled 2 or 3 matches, and then some guy in Oklahoma City 2 weeks ago wrestled his first match. And so they're all coming. So hopefully I set something up.
Yes, for sure. And then when your career so far, talk about where you want to head from here. Do you ever want to go to different states?
I did have an opportunity to wrestle back in my hometown of Schaumburg, Illinois this past summer. And that was really great to see a lot of people I went to high school with, family. My old football coach was there, some old teachers as well. Nice. It was in the stadium where I started my broadcasting career as a minor league baseball announcer too. So that was pretty cool. But as far as my gimmick is just me as a Milwaukee news anchor. So if the Milwaukee news anchor comes to Omaha. I don't know if I'm going to get the same reaction. It'd be cool. I'd love to try it, but
Yes.
I don't know if I'll get that head start that I do when I come through the curtain, and everyone already knows me here.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure maybe Chicago. That'd be interesting.
That
To
would be
see come.
sweet. I would love that
Yeah.
opportunity. I'm definitely not saying no. I would love to try it.
And then talk about who you look up to in professional wrestling and why.
Yeah, my favorites. I grew up in the Attitude Era. The first wrestling show I watched, like when I started religiously, was the show after Austin hit McMahon with the bedpan, and so I was like, okay, now I got to see what this is all about, and I never
Right.
stopped from there. Took a little bit of time off watching wrestling religiously right after college, as I started working every night as a sports anchor, but then I came back to it pretty soon after. But Stone Cold, The Rock, and my favorite has always been Kurt Angle. I actually wrote in high school, we had to write like these papers. I think it was part of like the Illinois State Achievement Exams or something, some kind of testing. And you had to write an essay. And my essay was about how intensity, integrity, and intelligence were such an important part of my life. And I
Nice.
getting a great score on it and laughing like, oh my gosh, these things are hilarious, because I just made all that stuff up. It was based entirely off of Kurt Angle promos, but it was great. But yeah, Kurt Angle is definitely an inspiration for me, and we share the same birthday.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. And what's your advice for someone that wants to step into the ring and try this?
To get trained well by someone that knows what they're doing. Get trained in the basics first, because as I've learned, I wish I had a firmer foundation and wasn't. I mean, I was training for my first match, and and that's what I basically been doing, learning what I need to do to get through the next match. And I've started to pile it up, but it took a long time, pile up skills and knowledge. But understanding the psychology it just makes so much more sense to me when I started to understand why, and not just this is cool, but why is this cool? Why did I do that? How does that help me try to win? When you understand that stuff, just what to do next starts to make sense to you. Like, obviously I need to do this next. This is how I'm going to try to win. And so coming through it from that point of view was started to become important to me. But just starting, just like anything else, you just got to do it. If you have a dream to do it, you got to do it. That's the same thing I tell people that want to be journalists, that want to be reporters, anchors. You got to start doing it. If you're in college, you got to go report a story. And the way that our phones are now with social media, you can report on whatever's happening. And who cares if it's a TikTok story? You just got to start. With anything, just start doing it.
For sure. And you've got to rub elbows with some of the WWE superstars recently. A couple of weeks ago, SmackDown was in Milwaukee.
Yes. And the Street Profits were at Hunger Task Force, which is a food pantry, kind of like all the food gets donated to Hunger Task Force, and then they push it out to all the local food pantries. And our station does a lot of work with them. We just had a big food drive with them last Friday. But the Street Profits were there helping, and I was able to come down, and I got to talk to a couple of my boys there, Angelo, and he helped pump me up for Drew Hernandez. But I also got to talk to Cody Rhodes a few weeks ago as he was promoting SmackDown in Milwaukee, and that was a great opportunity. This job and wrestling has afforded me so many opportunities. And as we pass Thanksgiving, that's one of the things I'm so grateful for, the opportunity to talk to people I really look up to and respect and admired at one point. And I still admire them, but now we're almost peers, and we can talk on a different level. And that's an opportunity I never would have.
For sure. And would you like to take on a wrestler who has another occupational gimmick? Like maybe it might be a real life job for them, and why?
I've always thought Kota Jacobs was a natural enemy for me, as he's a guy that, he has been. We've come up against each other quite a bit. He's a politician. That's his gimmick, and I'm a reporter. And our job as a reporter is to butt heads with any politician to get the truth out, whether to root out corruption or whatever it is. If it's not there, fantastic. But our job is to look and make sure. And so us coming up head to head is natural, and I've always enjoyed that dynamic between the two of us. So any politician, anyone that's a heel and corrupt, that's like my job as an anchor, as a reporter, and I've always enjoyed that storytelling.
For sure. I got one for you. How about Eric Schultz, the lawyer?
Eric Schultz?
Have you heard of him?
No, who's that?
He's a lawyer. So I can see you two going after each other. He's from the Chicago area, but he's done shows in Wisconsin.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, Eric Schultz, bring it on, Eric.
Yeah, he's definitely a corrupt one as well. So, but
Yes.
I appreciate you, Mike, being on PWE Report. Anything you'd like to say to the fans, go ahead and let them know and how to follow you and how to tune in and watch you live.
Yeah, please follow me on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, especially. Mike Curkov is all you got to look up. There's only one of us. You'll find me pretty easily. And then come to Blizzard Brawl. That is December 7th. Come to Horsepower 3 in Kenosha, Wisconsin. That's coming up in March. If you live in Southeast Wisconsin, come see me perform in A Christmas Carol with the Milwaukee Repertory Theater. That's Friday the 13th. You can use the promo code Mike to get 25% off of that. It's a pretty big week for me coming up here, Sean.
Oh yeah.
And then
sure.
I every piece of merch that I sell, the Iron Mike Curkov t-shirts, any autograph photos, 100% of everything is donated immediately right back to the Wisconsin Humane Society. It's where my family adopted our little beagle Fern, and so I always like to give back to them. The t-shirts are donated to me from Hanson Screen Printing in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, so that way I can donate all $25 of the fee for the t-shirts straight to the Wisconsin Humane Society.
Oh,
and it's
awesome.
something that I'm honored to do, and a lot of people are able to get behind. And I love when people come up and say, here's a donation, here's a donation. We show each other pictures of our pets, and we connect that way. It's a great moment before every show like that.
Appreciate you, Mike, being on PWE Report, and make sure to check out Blizzard Brawl. It's going to be, of course, this upcoming next Saturday, December 7th, Waukesha, Wisconsin. And Iron Mike Curkov is against Drew Hernandez. GLCW Championship is on the line. It's a pleasure to have you on, Mike. And
thanks, Sean.
Before I let you go, can you do a quick shout out for my podcast, PWE?
Yes.
And if you want to mention Chicago, you can. Let me just stop this recording and start a new one.